Hi. So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Roger Lehman. I'm one of the two program directors of the Executive Masters in Coaching and Consulting for Change. I want to welcome all the friends and family who have joined us, and obviously you. Nice to have you back on campus. Wave24. So we have a program that we will follow, and so the opening address will be done by our Dean of Degree Programs, Urs Peer. So over to Urs.
Thank you. Thank you, Roger. Dear participants, friends, family, on behalf of the INSEAD faculty and global alumni community, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the graduation ceremony of the Executive Masters in Consulting and Coaching for Change, Wave24! Welcome!
Motivational speaker.
Let me first congratulate the graduates for reaching another milestone in their life's journey, namely to graduate from EMCCC, or EMC as it's going to go forward, here on this beautiful campus in Fontainebleau. I don't know whether you had time to visit other than the participants. It's really nice here, okay? Your EMCCC program, dear participants, is really an important part of INSEAD's mission. And that mission is around business as a force for good. Your program in particular is really contributing from the point of view of changing and transforming people and organizations. You have shown great openness. You have shown great appreciation for learning about each other and about yourself. And I think that is what makes you in the future an even more impactful change agent. And each EMCCC graduate here today has a critical role to play in delivering on the INSEAD mission. We know only too well that sensitivities and skill in dealing with psychological processes is critically important, both within organizations and families. Without these skills, organizations will fail to realize their potential. Without sensitivity, individuals will needlessly suffer within organizations. Dealing with these emotional processes is always challenging, but even more so in this multicultural context. And each of you has chosen to study this subject at INSEAD in the most difficult of environments, with the most challenging environment of this multicultural and this diversity at INSEAD. But you know, this is exactly why INSEAD was founded about 60 years ago. It was exactly that reason to bring together people from, at the time, all over Europe, now all over the world, to bring people together to learn about each other across different cultures, across different nationalities. And the idea really was to establish bridges to further understanding of each other. But not just further understanding, but really use business as a conduit to establish these relationships and to build these bridges that serve to be sustainable relationships between countries, between cultures, and even religions. So I think the program that you have chosen here in Fontainebleau as EMCCC is a fundamental piece of delivering on INSEAD's mission to be a force for good, to have you in business, through business, be contributing to a better world, and in that sense link very much back to the mission that was established about 60 years ago, with really the aspiration of bringing peace and prosperity to the world through connecting cultures through business. So I really want to congratulate you for having delved into this challenge, to have succeeded, to be here, graduate from this program called EMCCC that really establishes you as leaders in the world for connecting between cultures, for also reflecting on yourself and helping through that make business a force for good. So I think I'm hoping as a message to you as graduates that you have had ample time to already drink from the lessons that the faculty have offered, that the program has offered to you. And I encourage you to stay connected with the school, to stay connected with each other so that you can even enhance your impact in the future. Now, can I please ask the families and friends and partners and kids to just stand up for a moment and let the participant help us recognize for your contributions to your success graduating today. Thank you very much for being here as well. Thank you very much. I think you will, you can attest to the fact that, and I hope you will have noticed, that your graduates have experimented at the very least with new behaviors, yes? I know at least from some of them that they have told me that they've noticed things. And I hope you were pleasantly surprised. But I would encourage you to keep on asking about what the learnings were, what the lessons were, and challenge your graduates every day to be the best of themselves and to implement what they have learned. But first and foremost, thank you very much for supporting them in this journey. I know it has taken a lot of their time and a lot of their energy, and it would not be possible without your support, so thank you for that as well. Let me also thank the faculty and the staff, especially here, Roger and Eric and Liz for guiding you through the intense journey. And where is Silke? There it is. So she is. And Silke for her support. I think both their engagement, their passion, their research, their devotion to EMCCC is second to none other program at INSEAD and in the world. So thank you again for all of your support. Thank you very much. INSEAD degree programs are, in general, very well known to generate very tight bonds. And I know there's other alumni sitting in the audience. You can probably attest to that, right? Even so, I think EMCCC stands out for the strength of your community. And again, it's a joint effort from the faculty, staff, and you as participants to create this strong community. And it's my very great pleasure to welcome all of you to the INSEAD alumni community today and encourage you to stay connected both with each other, your faculty, and your school. Congratulations on your achievements, and I'm very proud of what you have done so far. Thank you. Over to you. Back to Roger.
So, I want to share a few things with you. Oh, there it goes. And I need the clicker. Yeah. So I want to share, well, I'll wait till that's done. I want to share It will stop at some point. All right. I want to share with you a couple of stories from my life that have had meaning and impact on me and actually have dramatically, I would say, contributed to my personal and professional development. The first story goes back to 1969, 70. At a small college in Indiana, I was studying anthropology and sociology, but I ended up in a philosophy class with a guy called Delwyn Brown, and he was one of the leading experts in what's known as process philosophy. And process philosophy was based on the writings of a British mathematician who became a philosopher by the name of Alfred North Whitehead. And the amazing thing for me about process philosophy, and Delwyn then became a very important mentor in my life, but the concept of process philosophy is that all things are in a state of becoming. Everything in the universe is in a state of becoming. And the example that works for me is mountains become boulders, boulders become rocks, rocks become stones, stones become grains of stones, and over time they become mountains again. And the whole idea of everything is in a state of becoming just resonated with me. And I think its link is that it's fundamental to my idea that we as humans are also constantly in a state of becoming. And I think that's a foundational concept for CCC. Lifelong learning. We don't call it a course. We don't call it you students. We call you participants. And we say it's a journey. And a journey that in our mind is continuously evolving. And it was because of those 3 or 4 courses I took with Delwyn, and then the opportunity I had to have private conversations with him. I helped him paint his house. That got me into getting a lot of conversations going. But it was because of him that I think I have this very, very strong sense of the importance of becoming, of evolving. The second story is one that took place at INSEAD, well, not at INSEAD, but it was after I had come to INSEAD. And I had been at INSEAD we started here in 2000. As a result of this program, we set up the Leadership Center. I became the first executive director of the IGLC. Manfred was the founding scientific director. And in my role of being the director of the INSEAD Global Leadership Center, I started doing more teaching and other things than just CCC, or just, at that point, CCC it was. And I also was designing programs. And in that role, I had the opportunity to sit in a lot of courses that other faculty at INSEAD were doing. And it was just an amazing opportunity to see some fantastic people as teachers in their roles teaching. It also made it very clear to me that I was a long way away from where they were, that I had a lot of room to develop. And it was almost, I would say at times I thought, I'm just never going to be like these people. And at that point I thought I should be. You can tell I don't think that anymore. So, in my role as executive director of the CCC, executive education would often ask me to meet with clients to sell leadership programs. And on one occasion, we were to go to London, actually Newbury, outside of London, to the Vodafone headquarters. And we were to pitch a senior executive program to Vodafone, UK. So I flew over to London, took a taxi down to the Vodafone headquarters, Vodafone headquarters is awesome. If you've never been there, at least 20 years ago, it probably isn't that awesome now, but back then it was an amazing building. And the first thing you notice when you walk in is there are Ferraris everywhere, red Ferraris. And of course, they sponsored then, I don't know if they still do, Formula One teams. And so the meeting was to take place from 12 to 1. It was supposed to be me, person representing executive education at INSEAD, leadership development director from Vodafone, and a senior executive vice president, SEVP. At 11 o'clock, we start the meeting. At 11:15, we're still meeting, waiting on the SEVP. We're chatting about how I look at leadership, how INSEAD thinks about leadership, what their ideas are. But we're basically making small talk because we're waiting for the SEVP to show up. It is literally 4 minutes to 1 when the SEVP graces us with his presence. And he comes in to the room. We're sitting, the three of us, at a table. And the first thing he does is he comes up to me and he says, "You don't need to stand up. I know who you are." And I'm sitting there thinking, okay. I don't know who you are, but I assume you're the person that I thought was going to be here 56 minutes ago. But he then says, "All I want to know is what's your wow factor?" And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I can't stand up. I think you're the person, but I'm not sure. And what's my wow factor? I sat there, and I think he picked up that I was probably a little bit stuck in terms of how to respond, because he said to me, "Let me make it easy for you." And you know when somebody says that they don't really want to make it easy for you. And he says, "Look, I was at Harvard on an executive program, and I remember there was this one professor, and what he taught me, well, there was one thing that he taught me, and I thought, wow, wow. And I thought, well, that doesn't help me much. I'm really panicked, really, really panicked. And I'm thinking, wow factor. I've never heard of a wow factor before. And I say something. I have no idea what I said. I would love to have had a camera or a recording. I know I talked. I also know that what I said wasn't particularly beneficial, impressive, or useful, because ultimately we never heard back from them. And I suspect INSEAD won't get another opportunity to sell an executive program there for at least another 50 years. And the person from executive education never really told me what I said. The meeting ended, and and I'm sorry, I missed out a couple of details, because I'm sitting there and I'm looking up at him. He has the whitest white shirt I have ever seen in my life. He is tanned. He looks like he should be in a Men's Health magazine. And his cufflinks look like they cost more than my car, which also just contributed to my getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So we leave. I feel horrible. It's one of those moments where you just want to get out of there as quickly as possible. I fly back to Frankfurt, where we were living at the time. I don't think I need that. And I come into the house. Tessa looks at me. It's about 11 o'clock at night. And she says, "You look horrible." And, great. And I said, well, you know what? I am horrible. I think I have had one of the worst days of my life, professional life particularly. And she said, well, what happened? And I gave her the story, and I added a little bit more detail about what a jerk this guy seemed to be. And I said, you know, and he asked me if I have a wow factor, and you know, I didn't know what to say, and I don't think I got a wow factor. To which she said, that's okay. And that was horrible, because I thought, God, you know, you should have said, yes, you do. Let me tell you a couple of the things that you're wow about. But she said, that's okay. And I thought, oh, this is worse than I thought. I go to sleep, and I wake up, and this does happen to me frequently, at about 4 in the morning. And that's when I usually get great thoughts, or that's when things make sense to me. And I've learned to keep a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil by the bed, because I also learned if I said, I'm going to remember that in the morning, I never do. But I woke up and I thought, I got it. I got this. Oh, if I could turn the clock back 16 hours, I know exactly what I would say to that jerk. I would say, I don't do wow. You want wow? Call Mick Jagger. Mick knows how to do wow. Madonna, Lady Gaga, Bob Dylan. There's all kinds, Cirque du Soleil. There's all kinds of people that do wow. I don't do wow. What I do is aha. Now, over the next 10 years, this has been something that has been a pivotal concept for me in my identity. Because as I've developed this, and these old thoughts didn't all occur at that 4 o'clock in the morning, but wow is about what's happening out there. It's the show. And you can make wow happen. If you have enough money, you can make wow happen. Aha is about what's happening inside of us. And you can't make it happen. You can't say, it's 3 o'clock this afternoon, I think I'll have an aha moment. And what I really came to appreciate was also how much I owe to that executive. Because without him, I don't think I would have come to this level of understanding about myself and what I do and why I do it and how I want to do it. I think I might have continually thought I need to be one of those wow faculty members, and because we do have them. And I'm not saying they don't do aha, I just don't think they do it as well as we do. But it was a pivotal moment in my life because it helped me understand myself, appreciate that I'm not, there are things I do and things I don't do, and to say I'm going to focus on the things I can do because I think they make a major difference. And the point is, and you know this from the 18, 19, 20 months that we've been together, the purpose of our program is to create the space, not for wow, but for aha. And so I talked about gratitude and appreciation because, first of all, I have enormous gratitude and appreciation for you, Wave24, because you have given me your engagement, you've shared your stories with me, your cases, reflection papers, but also just moments over lunch, on the bus, at dinner, in the breaks, or whatever. And one of the things about giving is also being able to receive. And I think you were giving me a lot by engaging and being able and willing to receive what we structured. what we tried to create together with you. And so and I appreciate and have enormous gratitude for Doan Brown because of what he gave me as well. And there are many other people along the way. And I want to close with a quote. And that's why I have to do that, because I can never remember it. So the quote is from George Carlin, who is an American comedian, rather provocative in my generation. Probably wouldn't be at all provocative now. But he wrote at the end of his life several comments about instructions for living. And the last one I want to share with you, because I think it was really, really an awesome thought. And what he wrote was, life is not measured by the number of breaths that we take, but by the number of moments that take our breath away. And I hope you have moments that take your breath away. I hope you have people in your life that can impact you and you're open to them, like has happened to me, because that's a real gift. And I hope you can become those people in your network, in your families, in your professional life, that you are able to impact as you go forward in your careers, meaningfully, the people that you engage with. Thank you so much. Oh, it went back to AHA. Yeah, I just go forward. Yeah, he's got slides.
Good afternoon. I'm the other program director, Erik van der Loo, and I'm happy to see you here all. Also, a warm welcome to all of you on my behalf. And I thought the best I can do now is to share a few reflections, associations, a short reverie, a bit loose, and I will show you some pictures and give you some quotes and ideas. And 2 or 3 might be familiar to the class because I have shared them, but I have added some new and some recent ones. The first thing in EMC is what I would like to ask myself aloud. What is it about? What kind of transition, if at all, have you made? And it is phrased once by another participant, what EMCC is about. Hopefully to move from success to significance. You could not have entered INSEAD in this program if you wouldn't have been successful. It's not going from being a loser to becoming successful. Loser in the sense of societal, professional status and success. You all have achieved success professionally and still you wanted to do more. And this drive, this search in being in search of significance, I think at the stage of your lives and careers have brought you to INSEAD and to our program. Now, it's easier said than done. It can be a kind of formula to go from success to significance. But how do you actually move from success to significance? And here I would like to remind you of a short story from the world literature from Franz Kafka, a German-speaking writer who in Prague wrote a short story, The Trial, and he wrote it in 1914. vor dem Gesetz, before the law. And it is a short story about a man who from the countryside goes to the city. And he wants to enter a building called the law. And he sees a doorway, but in front of the doorway there is a man, a gatekeeper, a doorman, who blocks his entry to the building. The man who came all the way to enter this building asked the doorkeeper, the doorman, "Yeah, but can you please let me in?" And the man answers, "Not for now. Jetzt aber noch nicht." So the man waits. He decided to wait in front of the door. And days pass by, weeks pass by, years pass by. And he wonders how to get in. And at times the door opens a little bit, and then he can get a glimpse of what is there. And the doorkeeper says, "Yeah, you might pass me, but once you are in the house, in the building, you will meet other people blocking you." So he keeps on waiting. And then, at the end, they get old. Both the man who wants to get in and the man who's holding back. And right before his death, actually, he asked the doorkeeper, "But I see other people entering the building. So why not me?" And then the doorkeeper says, "Yes, but you must have noticed they all entered through a different door. And this door is just your door. And I've been here just for you." And then he says, "And no one else will pass exactly this door. Since this gate into the building was only for you, and now it's time to shut the door, and I have to leave." Why sharing this story? Because I think for me, this represents, if you want to go from success to significance, you have to be able to enter the building. And the building represents you, your total self, including your shadow and your unconscious. And entering yourself is something that is not without issues. And unfortunately, quite a few people don't enter. And their life passes by and they don't enter. And I think one of the achievements, so to say, of you have entered, for better and for worse, the law. as a precondition to move from success to significance. Once you enter the law, the building, yourself, what do you see? You see cracks. And that reminds of Leonard Cohen, who wrote beautiful songs, not all very happy ones, but beautiful ones. And one of them, one of his lines is, "There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in." So you enter yourself, you see cracks, and that's not just a crack, but that's the place where the light gets in. Scars of life very much connected with the most precious parts of ourselves. Precious aspects, being connected, disconnected with loved ones, desires, hopes, beautiful moments, meaningful memories, relationships, experiences. This is indeed how the light gets through the cracks in ourselves. Thank you, Leonard Cohen. There's another way to portray this from a very different culture than where Leonard Cohen grew up in, and that is in Japan, where we have the tradition of the kintsugi. And that's to decorate cracks in pottery with gold. It's not just hiding them or putting it away, but it's celebrating the crack in the pottery as a metaphor, of course, for how we can do kintsugi with us, not in a superficial way, but in a lived-through way. And then, to move on to another image, is an iconic picture of an iconic architectural creation by Frank Lloyd Wright in 1935 in rural southwestern Pennsylvania. And it's an example of organic architecture. The great and the genius, the creative achievement here, the creation, is that he managed to position the house in the forest and the mountains, and then to play with the source. There's water streaming through the house. And for me, that represents part of the building, the law. It's not just you entering yourself, but it is also connecting with the source, the water originating from generations before you, streaming through you. The source. And the source, being connected to the source, your source, is both completely you, and it is transcending you and connecting you. And that made me think of the work of somebody whom I have mentioned during EMCCC, the French-Chinese writer François Cheng. He also writes about the source, about the eternal cycle of water streaming from the source into streams and rivers. Water never to return after having left the source. It leaves the source behind. Although that might actually not fully be true, as part of the water that is streaming from the source will evaporate and goes up into the sky. Water gets transformed into clouds in the air and will eventually fall back onto the earth to help refill and sustain its source. Your family and friends, the generations above you as a source, your source, my source. And EMCCC as a newly found or perhaps a newly established source. INSEAD as a source for good in the world, as mentioned by Urs. A source for good in the world for our communities, our organizations, institutions, and families. I would like to invite you to go to a trilogy of clowns. I have 3 pictures of clowns to show you, each with a small story. And the first one is a picture by the French painter Georges Roubaud, Qui ne s'égrime pas, who does not put makeup or a mask on. We all do that. And in a way, we should do that. But whatever makeup this clown puts up, sadness, feelings, and in this case, melancholia, are inevitable. And these emotions and states of mood and mind, they transpire. Our shadow illuminates our persona. And I think it makes the clown more beautiful, more human. It is a very rich experience to be able to be present as a person in one's role. And for those who know you very well, dear graduates of Wave24, and a few of your friends and family are here, for those people who know you with love, for those people you don't need to wear your mask. Or perhaps you don't need to put it off. They see and feel you anyway. And that brings me to clown picture number 2. Again, Georges Roubaud, Le Clown Blessé, the Wounded Clown. A painting expressing love, care, and compassion. In our work, in our lives, we inevitably get wounded. All of us. Some earlier, some later, some a lot, some a bit less. Hopefully, when we get wounded, we feel supported, and hopefully we support others whenever they are in need of that. With whom do you identify in this painting? The bigger clown in the middle, who was wounded? The smaller clown, who supports from the background, almost containing the 2 bigger ones in front? Or are you the bigger clown in the front, holding the middle one? Aren't we all 3 of them, at the same time or at different times? All wounded, all caring, all supporting. Isn't this amphitheater full of clowns? It makes me think also about a comment that I heard last week from a Belgian professor in psychiatry, Damien Denys, who actually is also a philosopher. He got the question why he thinks that in Western European countries it is possible that despite all the economic increase and prosperity, the economic standards of living have gone up significantly, that so many people still suffer from depression and stress. And the analysis, the answer of Damien Denys is that in our contemporary societies in the Western world, we set way too high standards of who we should be and what we should achieve in life. And of course it is good to be ambitious, but how to be healthy, happy, friendly, authentic, ecologically aware, fair, moderate, spontaneous, empathetic, supportive, connected with the world via social media, etc., in continuity. He says it's unattainable. It's just too much. And not only that, once we then experience that we don't get it, we blame ourselves because we are considered to be responsible for our success. And that's a denial of the complexity of becoming happy. And he adds to that, we have unlearned the younger generations to give suffering a place in our lives. Now, why would we need to give suffering a place in our lives? Because that is the condition humaine. That is the human condition. That's the reality of life, that you get wounded, that you get scars. But we are in a world where we try to organize it out and we feel we don't need to experience it. Unlike generations above us, also in the Western European countries. If I look at my own parents and grandparents who went through wars, they have a very different relation to suffering and that reality. And as an example of that unlearning, of knowing how to deal with setbacks and that we are going over the top in organizing out risks and misery, there was recently in the Netherlands a small uproar because in a kindergarten with 4 or 5-year-olds, the staff, when there was snow on the playground, decided that they would let the children of 4 or 5 years old touch the snow with bare feet. And what did the parents do? Protest! Don't do that to our children. It's risky. And I see it as a reflection of our culture. If we raise, I'm Dutch, in a country like the Netherlands, that we try to prevent that children touch the snow with their bare feet and to create that sense of wonder, and of course some might get cold and grab a cold, but what kind of world are we living in? And that brings me to clowns number 3. Clowns admiring a baby. A photograph by the Viennese, Austrian, but Amsterdam-based photographer Maria Austria. 3 clowns touched by the new life, holding a baby with tender curiosity and love. Any baby can unmask us. Their encounter with this new life makes them transcending being a clown, as well as that it deeply illuminates their humanness. So it's both transcending and deepening being a clown. A sign of hope. Amidst of the busyness of our professional roles, we may be touched and enriched by what really matters. Almost to conclude now. Once we have entered the law, the building, ourselves, connected with ourselves, connected with the source, our source, and with one another, clowns as we are, we might want to proceed and go from the building to the forest. And there we can be inspired by a thought proposed by the German poet Rainer Maria Rilke, who wrote in a letter what he felt to a friend, what he felt that the essence of a forest is. And he says it's not about the individual trees, although obviously you will find trees in a forest. No, the essence of the forest is in the space between the trees. Growing the forest is growing that space. And as we know by experience, when you enter the forest, that may be frightening. What could emerge from the darkness, from behind the trees? It could be mysterious, relaxing, playful, spiritual. The forest has a history. Wave24 is a forest. You, as well as your thesis, are like trees. And we have read all your theses, and they add up to the 436 theses on the public list in the Dorio library. So together we are building up a body of knowledge with EMCCC, and yours are going to be added to it. And the beauty and the richness is perhaps not in the individual thesis, but in the space that we create together. And that brings me to the last part. This week I received a reflection paper from a participant from one of the other waves still in the air. And she wrote to me in her reflection paper, every time we come back from a module to our homes and families after each module, we take back a little bit of what we learned and reflected upon, and touch our families, our tribes, and communities with it. And then the families and tribes who have never met each other end up touching others and change their colors without even knowing how they may be influencing, without even meeting them. A fascinating idea, how going home from INSEAD, from the modules, you touch your people, your family, your friends, and without even knowing, things start changing in the wider world. And to put that in a metaphor, with colors. And what did she do? She included a drawing by her 8-year-old daughter in her reflection paper. And she said, when she spoke with her daughter of 8 years, Aditi, she is Indian, Aditi thought, I draw this, and she called it trees having a conversation. And she says, well, trees have conversations with one another, and then the colors change a bit at the edges. And that's what we are. Trees having conversations. And these colors remind me, almost to conclude, to a metaphor once also expressed by a participant when we asked them, how would you try to catch in a metaphor what EMCCC is? And the metaphor is a lake reflecting all the colors of the sky. The diversity, a lake reflecting all the colors of the sky. Well, I think enough reverie, enough associations, hoping, touching a bit essences of what EMCCC, I think, is about. A connection between you and the outside world, between me and you, you and me. It has been a very enriching experience, also for me, a privilege and a joy. So, from the bottom of my heart, saudade.
So it is a INSEAD tradition that the class graduating chooses class speakers, and you have chosen 3. And I assume you're probably doing the speeches in the order that they're given. Arpana?
Big assumption.
Big assumption. All right. I hand it over to you.
Be ready for change.
I don't like change.
See this guy in a tie? I mean, how have you seen this before?
An act.
Dear guests, graduates, families and friends, faculty and staff, my name is Roberta Fiore from Wave24. I'm a participant and today a graduate. I feel honored and privileged to be here with you today. I am feeling also very anxious at the moment, but the positive feelings are much stronger. Each journey has a start and an end, and we are now approaching the end of this unique learning journey that we undertook together, which for many of us is only the beginning of a new chapter in life. It has been a journey of discovery, learning, and transformation. Thinking where all this started, my memories go back to the first trip to Fontainebleau and through its forest. It has been a journey, traveling by train, I could see from the window the busy environment of the city, gradually leaving space to the countryside and small villages. And then, in the taxi on my way to INSEAD residence, I could see the forest of Fontainebleau. You have all noticed it coming here, I guess. And then, thinking about my memories, there is another forest coming to my mind. It's the forest presented by Manfred during first module. This is the forest of Dante Alighieri, a famous Italian poet, moral philosopher, and political thinker from the 13th century. And this is the Divine Comedy. This is the incipit of the Divine Comedy. And it shows Dante wandering alone in a dark forest. He has strayed from the right path and is lost now. He is confused, and his life seems meaningless. The dark wood of error that he describes in this line is an ominous portrayal of what life is like without God and without meaning. It is a scary place. When Manfred showed this slide, I thought, is he wondering that we are approaching a midlife crisis? And this is the reason for all of us to be here at INSEAD? Perhaps he was right. Indeed, I had some early warning of a midlife crisis. I came here because I was looking forward to gaining new knowledge, to add new gadgets to my professional toolbox, and with the hope to be able to answer the question, who do I want to be moving forward in my life, both professionally and personally? And from there, our journey started. As Dante goes through hell and purgatory, guided by Virgilio, and through heaven, guided by Beatrice, we undertook our learning journey guided by Eric and Roger, who guided us with wisdom and heart to help us to become change agents. The transformation took place over this 2-year journey. It has been a tremendously rewarding experience, but even painful at times. And I want to thank all our families and loved ones who have supported us with love and patience through such an experience, which wouldn't have been the same without each of them. Each of us, with Roger and Eric, contributed in creating the safe space for reflection and exploration, where far away from distraction and noise, they facilitated the personal metamorphosis to happen. We learned to listen by using the third ear, and to read feelings by using our heart. And now that we are change agents, with such a reward comes also the responsibility. Transformation is all around us, in the economy, in politics, in our society, and not necessarily for the best. Digitalization is changing the way we are communicating. Artificial intelligence is already a reality, and companies are facing big changes. And if you think about the pharmaceutical industry from which I come from, even successful organizations that for a long, long time operated traditionally are now facing major transformations. Today, and moving forward, as change agents, we have a responsibility towards our society, our organizations and teams, our spouses and kids, and towards ourselves. We are responsible to help and guide people and organizations through change by creating the safe and reflective space for transformation to happen. But it is also important for us to maintain the space that we have created here at INSEAD to be effective as a reflective leader. My wish for today and for the future, while moving forward in our lives and careers, is to keep in mind and reflect on these 3 questions. How are we going to ensure that we will guide change in a way that is beneficial for individuals and organizations? How are we going to make sure that we do not harm people by the change we bring? How are we going to make sure that we ourselves can recreate the space for reflection, allowing to change for the better? Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Aparna, an EMCC graduate today, and very proud to be part of this tribe. So congratulations, Wave24, and good luck on your incredible journey that lies ahead of you. So these were thoughts penned at 4 a.m. this morning, so pardon my slight slips sometimes. Thanks to all the families present here for your support and for putting up with our regular absences when we went away to INSEAD, for supporting us in so many ways. We can't even begin to describe those. And your support has helped us come to this point today. So each one of those family members that are present here, and for the ones that aren't, our heartfelt thanks and gratitude. I'd also like to add a very special recognition to my family, Vivek and Leona, for being here and being my secure bases, and without whom I could not have done this. Thank you so much. Of course, there was an ulterior motive. My husband came to this school 15 years ago and couldn't wait until I was an alum as well. So thank you for that. As we step out as proud graduates of this prestigious EMCC program, Our hope is that we can apply our precious learnings to our life, our work, use those psychodynamic lenses whenever we can, in whatever ways we can, be more aware, wonder, reflect, apply our night vision, free associations, and finally use ourselves as instruments, and try to make better sense of the complexity around us, and most of us within ourselves. Thank you, INSEAD. Thank you, Roger. Thank you, Eric, Liz, Silke. Without you, we couldn't have even started on this journey. So thank you for giving us your love, your guidance, your support, all the time, every time. Thank you. I just want to say one last thing. I just want to wish you all happiness. And I was reading, there were these psychologists that have talked about happiness, and Manfred has recently also talked about happiness. And he said the only two things matter when it comes to happiness. First, do we find meaning in our work, in what we do? And second, do we have good relationships with people around you? And I hope and I wish that may you be surrounded by both of these, and may you be happy today. All my love from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much.
So we had 17 nationalities here, and I was sort of, one idea was I say hello in 17 nationalities. In Australia, it's very easy. G'day. So first of all, I mean, I don't know why. There's a standing here when we had a couple of calls. We're going, I don't know, is this because no one else wanted to do it? Or, but thank you, and we're humbled by that. And it's an interesting journey we've all had. For some, we came with certain aspirations for outcomes that we may or may not have achieved. There's been lots of changes for many of us. And it may have been that we wanted to move to be a consultant or become a better one or to do something in business. Whatever it was, I thought I was coming here to fix my firm and change the leadership and do all these great things. You know? I think it's sort of happening, but I'm not too sure. So I wanted to talk about accomplishment. We heard success being mentioned. But what's accomplishment? And for some of you that know, and Martin's children know, that we run cattle at home. Yeah? And his children are coming to see the cattle one day, we think, from Sweden, and they can get on a plane that far. And when I'm at home, I'm around a lot of interesting people. And they're very good at fixing water troughs. And water's very important for cattle. Well, I'm not very accomplished at that. And they look at me and go, what you're doing is this, and you're doing this, and they think I'm very accomplished. I think they're very accomplished because I can't fix water troughs or fences like they can. So I find accomplishment is an interesting expression of someone, and I think it's very relative. And certainly I didn't expect to be standing here 2 or 3 years ago, and I'm sure some of us may have not thought 2 or 3 years ago to be, hopefully momentarily, receiving a certificate. I can't help but pause and think there's some DNA collaboration that has occurred between Roger and Eric. It just keeps reminding me, I don't know how these guys, they're twins in some other world. The way they interconnect and the way that they carry through was quite remarkable. I can't help but, of course, we thank our partners and families and friends that have been involved. And it depends what age you are, of course. For some of you have children, many of you have, if you don't have nieces and nephews. But to have a daughter who 6 or 7 years ago left home, travelling to London by herself through many different places. She still wants to be around. She turns up here and is an accomplished person as she is, doing her own thing. And the other one decided, well, why not have a real experience and spend 12 months in Iraq with a humanitarian group? Sure, great. Turns up, surprises. I never did this in class. What's happening? Anyway, so, and then to have Joan, our adopted mother, who's on her 4th or 5th masters. I mean, clearly something's going on there. And my wife, who, well, God, do you know what a difference between a bull and a steer is, or a cow and a heifer, and do you know how to run community advocacy? And indeed, in a hotel lobby in Denver about 4 years ago, I met with a coach, a leadership coach, who happened to be on the first program here in 2000. And, well, guess guess what? They got together and decided I should go on this course. Yeah? Their experience and feeling. And I hopefully reflected some of that back. So I wanted to talk a little, and I loved it. During the course, the story about the Nobel Prizes came up. And some of us now know that story, and I read it back in another book some time ago, but I love that. So here is one of the Nobel brothers dies, but a French newspaper gets the wrong Nobel brother and writes this wonderful story about this brother that apparently died, with a headline, "The Merchant of Death is Dead." Now imagine waking up in the morning and reading this story about yourself because the French newspaper got it wrong, and suddenly finding out what the people thought of you. Because the other Nobels were famous for explosives and all this, we know this from the past. And when you pause and reflect about that, you go, wow, what is the legacy? What is the thing that's going to be written about you? People that don't even know you, maybe, but some distance, as much as those that know you or feel they know you very well. What will they write about you? And I think that is a very important piece to take, at whatever age you are, to think about right now, no matter what age, what will that be? What would be written by someone that knows you or doesn't know you? And to be able to take the opportunity from this day forward, if you're not satisfied with what you think might be changed or what might be written, that you get that rewritten. The other part of this is unconscious bias. Wonderful thing, great concepts that we become very familiar with, I think. And so what is it? Are we really alert to the perils? Do we really understand what that is in our own lives? And it was only just recently, in all things, a financial newspaper, where an author and a book reviewer wrote about her brother's struggle to read a balance of authors, alive, dead, male, female. And the reviewer's brother said, "I'm having a dead man problem." Most of what he's reading was dead men. Okay, so he put himself on a point system where every woman that he read, women author that he read about, plus 1 point. Every living person that he read about, or a book of, plus 1 point. Every living woman, 2 points. Every dead man, -2. At the end of the year, 2017 this was, he struggled to get above 0. Fascinating. So she, a self-described feminist, decided, I can do this easy. I'm going to read only female authors the whole year. Not with points. And she looked around her bookshelves and she said there was just 2 descriptions for it. It was Victorian and full of testosterone. So she read only female authors for the year. And what she reflected on was really, she did not find that she'd read more better, less better than what she may have read in the past. But it was an interesting experiment. And one finding, or 2 findings that she found was, no one was trying to explain women to me. Fascinating insight. I wonder. Simply stated, women just existed. There was no spin, it was unfiltered, it was just understood. And really, in the end, the learning was the 50-50 balance of reading and understanding was really the important learning that she had. Where you leave half of humanity out of your reading and understanding, it seems short-sighted at best and dangerous at worst. Maybe that's an observation from a balcony of some sort somewhere. The other interesting aspect, which of course it's great having daughters, they help you understand the world. And what we have learned here is only representing about 30% of the world. 70% don't understand the Western philosophical, cultural traditions. They have their own, whether it's the Chinese or Indian or wherever it may be. Some may overlap. So that's another interesting observation from the balcony. 2 last quotes from this rantings and things. So, a Nobel Prize winner, English literature, 1983, a man. "I think women are foolish to pretend they are equal to men. They are far superior and always have been. Whatever you give a woman, she will make greater. If you give her sperm, she will give you a baby. If you give her a house, she will give you a home. If you give her groceries, she will give you a meal. If you give her a smile, she will give you her heart. She multiplies and enlarges what is given to her. And then another quote from a soon-to-be published Monday, Silke, author that may be known. Those men and women in education and in business and broader leadership roles need to be able to stand above, find the balcony, and observe the androcentrism, assess and make informed choices for themselves, and to assist others. That's all I have to say, and I appreciate being allowed to say it, and I've enjoyed this journey immensely, so thank you.
We are open.
They do another thank you now. They will do another thank you. That's what they decided.
They're doing something else. They're doing something.
There was Odd coming after them. Odd is going to come after them.
Of course, we love interrupting processes, particularly where there's
Yes.
structure.
And
So,
could you all sit
Martine
down,
and Odd.
please? And we have a few very important tasks to accomplish here, and I will hand this over to Aude and Martin as they take care of that.
Yes, so I'd like maybe all of you four to come up stage. Roger, Eric, Liz, and Silke. To thank you.
Hello.
And I think there's a very special message too for Silke today. So happy birthday, Silke. Thank you very much, Liz. Liz, you got one before us, so we had to catch up with the rest. This is for you, and this is for Roger and Eric, and fortunately, it's not packed. Because I'm going to tell you why. Because it's a symbolic gift.
It doesn't feel symbolic.
It's concrete but symbolic. So I want to tell you the story about the symbol of the gift. Because this is a... You can stand here. Oh yeah, okay. So I just want to tell you the story of the symbol of the gift. Liz has also a bit symbolic gift because it's looking a bit like a container, and it's also a bit artistic, and so it's she was driving the direction of thesis like a master in arts, just like slightly little touches that just change everything in terms of comments with delicacy. So I think maybe this is for you. And the comments I want to make. And the comments I want to make on your gifts, Roger and Eric, is because, in fact, it's a bottle of very fine champagne. And so it's, there's symbols everywhere. So it's very fine, it's excellent. So it's like, And also, but it's a special year. It's a special year. It's 2008, and it's a special edition. It's the Legacy edition. So I don't know if I need to say much more, but I can develop just a little bit. But you got it already. So Legacy Edition is the story in 2008 of the first chef de cave who has been there for many, many, many years and who's passing over to the new chef de cave because he's retiring. And so they work for several years together for this passage to be, perfect because it's Dom Pérignon. And and this is the year that they call, this is the last year of transition, where the other one will take over. And so this edition is called Legacy. And so, legacy, the legacy you gave to us. And you can find many other ways of playing with the word, I'm sure. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
this is a gift from our classroom. And this is a book with our self-portraits, which are drawn on the first day of the MCCC.
Wow.
And, well, this is a remember for our classroom, for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
The last thing I want to say is the bottle is also decorated with a little sticker by an artist, and it's written EMCCC Wave24, so you can't, make believe that you buy it and offer it to someone else. And it's also written with gratitude. And if you want, you can show it to everyone. And also, happy birthday, Silke. Happy birthday, Silke.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Silke. Happy birthday to you. Thank you. Very touching.
It was.
Thank you.
Well, we are up, I guess.
So it's
Yeah.
oh, over there. Yeah. Okay. So it's our turn now to give to you. And so, as Silke calls your name, please come up to get your diploma. And
There will be a photograph.
and there will be, that's true, there will be a photograph, so stay when you get your diploma, long enough to get your picture taken.
If you want.
And then there will also do a class photo at the end. So,
You want to take off your microphone or you want that on the phone?
I think you can turn it off. You can turn the mic off, can't you?
Ready?
Go.
Roberta Fiore.
Photo.
And now, it's going to be a lot of hugging. Over here. And then open up your diploma if you want. The first one takes longer. And then he nods and we can go.
Okay, go there.
Amal Al-Jamal.
Hi, thank you very much. Thank you. So I will open it like that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Amal.
Frédéric Bagouti. Manuel Bejan.
also lots of kisses.
Laurence Cornet, with distinction.
Well done.
Camilla Fossati. Alexander Frank.
Danke. Sie auch?
Laure Fraval.
Thank you so much.
Olga Gorobets.
Olga. That way.
Thomas Herlin. Martin Jensen, with distinction.
Roger.
Right.
See you soon. And you get a Swedish whip.
Aude Joly.
Okay. Hoort dat wel?
Joumana Kachour. Kalpna Kirtikumar.
Hi. Thank you.
Don't you want to go, woo?
Terry Kleinert.
Here's. Sorry.
That's all right.
There we go.
Jules Oscar Coleman.
Somebody's waiting on that.
Ludmila Kostentova. Leon Krecher. With distinction.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Ana Carolina Lima de Oliveira.
Thank you very much. No, I'm I won't leave you. Thank you, sir.
You got it.
Abi Narayana.
Amen. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you for everything.
Felicia Norgard. Anita Auerkirk with distinction. I've got a slide from Patrick for you. Patrick unfortunately cannot make it today. He's gotten sick just very suddenly, actually, and cannot make it. Aparna Dogra.
Roger, I did it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Oh, my dear, what will I do without you? Thank you. Where's the man?
There she is.
For you, for you.
For you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Love you.
Up.
Michael Rowe.
I held out to the end.
You did. You made it, huh?
Yeah, well, you know, thank you, Silke. You're the key to all of this, huh? Thank you.
Gustavo Pascual Suarez.
Look behind you, huh? Well done.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Marcel Probst.
Hi, Roger.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
And I have some ideas for your aha effect.
Good. For the wow. No, the aha.
Thank you.
Does it have to do with the motorcycle? It'll be a wow.
Thomas Rufener.
Thomas, well done.
Thanks.
Olga Chebakova.
Olga.
Thank you, Silke. Thanks.
Jan Schlüter with distinction. Bogdan Stapien. And it's with distinction as well. Remco Verhoeven. Marguerite Visser.
Roger. Well, thank you so much. Meine Süße.
And we would like to mention, of course, as well, 3 more participants who could not be with us today. So we've got Muataz Altaran, and Philip Kegels, and Renat Pellemann.
Yeah. So we have one more thing, 2 more things. One is, there. We have another bouquet of flowers for Silke. And this is in appreciation for all the work that you've done to help us on this program as well. I did it for you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah?
I'll close.
You do it.
And then the photo.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last act. Can I please ask all the graduates to stand up? By the power vested in me, by the INSEAD faculty and the board, I hereby declare the EMCCC Wave 24 officially graduated! Congratulations! Woo! Congratulations!
Group photo and then the circle.
So now we're going to take a group photo first of you. Maybe take off your badges. It's always nicer. And after the group photo, we will go for drinks, cocktails in the Cercle building. Okay?
So how do you want to do the photo? Remove. To VNEC. Okay, okay. Sit down here. So everybody down here.
Est-ce que tu veux les avoir? Okay, so can you just come up here on the stage, please, the
Leave
graduates?
your diplomas there. Come on up here.
Okay, please. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Last time. 1, 2, 3. Thanks a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.